once again, in case you're just joining us here on Jets Postgame Live, Jets fall in a brutal afternoon out at MetLife Stadium. 30-10, the final to the Bills, fall to 0-2 on the season. Not a lot going in any facet of the game, especially on offense. Let's hear from Garrett Wilson, who had just 4 receptions this afternoon. It's presented by the U.S. Virgin Islands. Visit the U.S. Virgin Islands, where you will fall naturally in rhythm.
Garrett, after how you guys looked on offense last week, like how frustrating was it to come out the way you guys did today and not really produce?
Yeah, definitely frustrating. I mean, we didn't play well when we were on the field. It felt like we weren't on the field, and just didn't play well, not good enough, and can't wait to go practice. You know, not good enough.
Garrett, how do you explain that? Like, how does that happen?
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. We you know, all week you feel like you got a good plan. We had a good week of practice, and come out and lay an egg when it matters. So like, we got to figure it out. I don't know. I don't know exactly how that happens. And, you know, props to them, I guess.
Garrett, what did you make of Justin today before he got hurt?
Yeah, man. I just felt like we didn't get a rhythm on offense, and you know, that was hard on all of us out there. You know, we didn't do a good job of helping them. I know I did, you know, put one on the ground today and making plays when he was out there. So, you know, we all got to do our part, and that starts with us in the receiver room making plays and getting this thing rolling as soon as we get out on the field. Good.
What were they doing, putting extra attention on you today? What was their strategy against you?
Down the stretch there, you know, I thought there was a little extra attention, but to start the game, I didn't think it was nothing special. Yeah, you know, that didn't feel like one of the games where it was like, oh, I'm, you know, out of it. You know, that might be how the stat book looked, but no, I didn't feel like that. Down the stretch there in the fourth quarter, when, you know, we went 2-minute mode, I felt like they did some things to take me away, but no, yeah.
Gary, you guys had some things early in the game. The fumble, Justin's fumble. On defense, there was 2 penalties on third downs that gave them life. Is that a team like you cannot give?
Yeah, I mean, those are things we talk about all week that we can't do. And everybody that, you know, is responsible, no one feels worse than them at that time when they make those plays. They all know that. Those are things we talk about all week, emphasize all week. The ball, number one, and then, you know, how to go against 17, how to build 17, and you know, all week we hammered that home, we thought, and just stuff that can't happen when we playing a good team like this. When you do stuff like that, you're gonna find yourself, you know, in a tough spot. So yeah.
You know, Connor, you made a point about this offense earlier in the show where you said they got a lot of one-dimensional pieces, and then you mentioned that they also really only have one wide receiver, and that's Garrett Wilson. And obviously last week, week 1, didn't really affect them. I mean, he had a really nice game. But as you move forward here, how critical will it be for the Jets to find a way to develop a second option in the passing game for Garrett Wilson's production?
The problem is it's a lot of floor guys, not ceiling guys. The one guy that you could tap into a little bit more, but he kind of had a rocky summer, is the rookie in Arian Smith, because he has electric speed. And they tried to get him going today by running that reverse, and then he had the catch where he stepped out of bounds with one foot that looked like a really nice play. But, I mean, listen, you know what Alan Lazard is. You know what Tyler Johnson is. Josh Reynolds was hurt today, but you know exactly what he is. They are possession number 4s that can help you block a little bit, that are being thrusted into number 2 roles. Yeah. So the reality is you're going to have to either, one, going back to Bart on pregame, Breece Hall needs to be your number 2 receiver, which I'm fine with. Schematically, they didn't try any of that today, I thought. Or you need Mason Taylor to be a top 15 tight end as a rookie, and I think that's unreasonable, but that's kind of where they are right now. Darren Muji has done some good things. I thought the trades for the defensive tackles at the end of camp was a really, really savvy move. But this was the bed the Jets made this offseason when they said, we're going to pay Garrett, and then number 2 receivers, kind of a committee of guys that have never been number 2 receivers. It just goes back. Like, you can't be surprised by things when players have been what they are their whole career, and you want something more out of them that later on. And the Jets are going to have to out-scheme teams that way, and that's a lot on Tanner Engstrand's plate.
Yeah, especially for a guy this is his first true, shot at being an offensive coordinator. On top of that, across the league, we even watched it in the Washington game. Like, you neutralize, they neutralized Terry McLaurin, and then Washington, Jaden Daniels had to figure out who's the number 2. And they didn't necessarily have it, even though they had Debo and Zach Ertz. Overall, man, we don't have that type of production or that weaponry right now. So if they neutralize Garrett, it comes across as, one, Justin Fields insufficient, where he's not able to kind of dissect the defense, and two, when you have Breece Hall and some of these other guys, they're good in one lane, right? They're not multifaceted in other things. And we look at a team today that went 0 for 11 on third down, right? That's a lot, man, from a team to kind of just write off and say, get them next week. That's a schematic problem, right?
Right.
And
you can't compete that way.
You can't, yeah. And so when you see Aaron Glenn say, we see the tape. We don't need to see the tape.
No.
We know what the stats
We watch the game.
We watch the game, right?
I really don't like that answer.
Yeah,
No, it's not just Aaron Glenn. When coaches use that in the NFL, it's a way to deflect the question. I can't stand
Right.
Like, did you not watch the game?
Right.
What you mean you
Coverage
got
breakdowns,
shit?
like all 22 coverage breakdowns, you could use that answer once in a while.
Yeah.
When you miss a tackle or you just can't get a yard.
I'm just saying, for 4 quarters,
Yes.
you know what they're doing to Garrett Wilson. Give me something else, dog. You know what I mean? Let's not.
But the thing is, you could always take away one receiver. Nobody.
But that's the league. That's always going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. So I think, you have to be superior schematically. But this group hasn't been in this scheme. So it's still like Buffalo can get away without a true number 1. Keon Coleman, they hope can be a number 1, but Palmer, Elijah Moore.
And hell, Josh Allen. He's a legit threat.
What I'm saying is Shakur, like, they can do this because this system has been together so well that they can take secondary pieces and be able to move them and let them do what they do well.
Right.
See, they don't know the outcomes and how to run a route, and in this particular formation, this personnel, instead of running the vertical, come out and break it off, and the quarterback knows, right? The quarterback's trying to learn on the fly. Everybody else is trying to learn on the fly this system and the adjustments, and it takes a while for packages to grow. Like, so now you just take Garrett Wilson away, and that's kind of like the primary thing.
Right.
And Justin Fields, burps the baby, holds onto the ball. I thought he did a bad job in retreating back and then trying to circle the defense. That's not a recipe for success in the NFL. You have to step up in the pocket and then go left or right. You saw that with Josh Allen.
Yep.
And that's how you do it. But he's just not sophisticated enough as a passer to step back, go through the progressions, understand where my holes are, and give his guys a chance to make that decision quickly. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. He can make it eventually quickly. And the line did a pretty good job in being able to do it. I mean, Bosa won a couple things, a couple veteran savvy winning inside.
Right.
But
well,
for
he
the most
beat a
part,
tight end on a sack, so I'm not going to give him
Right, so that's a Justin Fields. That's a weakness of his. Right, you have to make it, quick decisions for him. We applauded the quick decisions last week, but that was schematically because it was man-to-man.
Well, I'll say this. I think, and I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it, some quarterbacks are more efficient with the ball running out of the pocket than sitting in the pocket. And it just have to come to that realization.
Right, yes.
If you want to maximize what he can do best, you got to create a movement.
Cut the field is what
sure,
you're saying.
Correct.
Cut his reads.
That's exactly what I'm saying. But,
sprint passes,
right,
dashes,
but get that pocket
wagons.
moving where he's not sitting there and trying to see a whole the whole field.
Right.
And now the rush is coming at him on top of him not knowing where his outlets are.
And also last week we saw the master at work, the nuance of being able to get in different snap counts. He didn't work his snap counts well at all. And that's why he wasn't able to smoke out when a cornerback is blitzing off the edge. Mm-hmm. They didn't do a good job this week in using shifts and motions to kind of give him the answers to the test before. You got to get to the line of scrimmage early, too, to get out there, to move and get these answers so that you can verify that the message is authentic. They were sitting at the line of scrimmage, and it was just a regular rhythm, and guys were able to just pin their ears back because they knew the Jets were already behind, and they were going to have to pass to catch up.
One thing I'll add quick with Aaron Glenn in that press conference, and take into account, I really like Aaron Glenn. I believe in him. I think it's going to take a little while, but I think things are going to get right. And I hate to be the giving advice guy. That press conference, when you constantly are defensive and saying tape, I understand. You had a bad loss. Yep. There are times you have to watch the tape. The one thing I will say that's not good about that is when you always use that answer for every question, those reporters are now going to go to your players and ask them more questions and more details. So he doesn't realize this right now, but he's trying to protect his players, and he's doing the opposite. Now they're vulnerable to, well, the coach said he had to watch the tape, but I talked to so-and-so after, and he said this, and that creates, and listen, it's not creating friction inside the locker room, but it can give the perception of things like that. So I think it's something Glenn has to learn from. You don't have to love it. You don't have to be in a good mood. Nobody's in a good mood after a loss like that, but you're actually hurting your players' protection when you have press conferences like that.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. And listen, to your point as well, it is a learning curve right now with Aaron Glenn. I think we all agree that he's got a lot of potential over there, but it's not going to happen right away.
But he did say we got to evaluate coaches as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
And you got to take that seriously because on defense, you've been out schemed. And I understand that Wilkes is a proud man, but maybe Aaron Glenn's going to have to step in meeting rooms and see what's being taught. And so he can figure out who he needs to hold accountable.
Yep. We will see. Next week doesn't get any easier for the Jets as they head down to Tampa Bay, first road game of the season, trying to avoid an 0-3 start to the year. When we come back, we'll wrap this show up and preview that game, Jets postgame live, following a 20-point defeat to the Bills.
Jets postgame is brought to you by the New York Lottery. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Jets Postgame Live is brought to you by the official digital transformation partner of the New York Jets, HCL Tech. Supercharging progress.
Rough day for the Jets defense today. Over 400 yards allowed, 224 on the ground. Bills were 5 for 14 on third down. Honestly, it felt worse watching it live. Let's head back out to MetLife Stadium, hear from one of the Jets' safeties, Andre Sisco.
How do you kind of just make sense of everything that happened today, the performance you guys had?
It's hard to say right now. I've been here before, though. Been on a few teams that have had this issue. 1 week competing well, next week game's not as close. So we'll take a look at it. I don't want to speak too soon.
What was the issue in the running game, do you think? You guys struggled a little bit there.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear we had that many rushing yards. I felt like that wasn't going to be a concern the way it ended up being going into the week. Knowing obviously James Cook is a great back, but we ended up giving up a lot of yardage there. So we'll have to take a look at that.
What was AG's message to you guys?
Man, he same thing. Been here before. All he knows is back to work, and it's extremely disappointing. We talked about taking a hard look in the mirror and understanding, obviously, like this is not okay. Like in no way should we be walking around saying, "Oh, it's okay." We'll get. It's not okay. And hard look in the mirror, I think, is the best way to go about this.
What happened to you today? You went down and you needed help.
Yeah, shoulder. Just needed them to get me back in place.
Was the tackling, I mean, it looked like it was an issue today. Does that surprise you? Because I know you guys put a huge emphasis on that in training camp.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one that stands out to me is the long James Cook touchdown. I feel like that's uncharacteristic for us. We talked about hats to the ball. And when guys, break tackles and run free, that's definitely not our brand of ball.
Thanks, Andre.
Improve on that.
Back to work. Fundamentals and technique is huge, and especially with tackling. It's down to the smallest of steps that put you in position, and so we just got to get back to work on that.
Talking to a couple of your guys, they talked about looking at yourself in the mirror and trying to assess your own, what you did out there today. Is that what the tack that you take?
Yeah, 100%. And you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be brutally honest. This league is not for long, and that means even as a starter, anybody on the field, the coaches are constantly evaluating, and there's a lot of guys that want to come in and compete with us. And so you got to understand, nothing's set in stone. I think from a starter's position, that's how I look at it. You want to continue to compete, and then as a team, moving forward, we want wins, and we need them now. It's not a league where you want to hang around and hopefully it comes together. You want to be able to compete early.
The Jets' remaining schedule is presented by JetBlue. Not the remaining schedule, the next 5 weeks.
They're starting.
We got 15 games to go here. The official airline of the New York Jets. Next week.
We got to the week.
Come on, Willie. 15 weeks we got. Let's go. Let's go. It's going to be tough, though, next week in Tampa Bay. Bucks 1-0. They play on Monday Night Football tomorrow night against the Texans. Connor, what's awaiting the Jets in Florida?
Well, I mean, your secondary better get the communication right and the tackling right, because Baker Mayfield throws with precision. And it doesn't matter that Chris Godwin probably won't play in this game, because Emeka Egbuka stepped into Chris Godwin's role, the rookie wide receiver they took in the first round, like it's nothing. So all the Jets' problems, and you can't run right into the wall that is Vita Vea. So the Jets need to do some soul searching, and they need to come out and fix their two biggest woes right now, is notably just the secondary issues.
Yeah, I thought we highlighted that we saw flashes of who they were going to be on offense. And after today's game, I'm back to neutral.
Right.
I don't know who they are, what they're capable of, especially against a worthy outfit in the Buffalo Bills. So moving forward, man, I just, Aaron Glenn talks about watching the tape, but also having a heart-to-heart with this offensive staff. I'm like, hey, we got to set an identity that we can build on for the next couple of weeks, because, after today, man, I don't know what they can do well.
Well, for me, I worry about Tampa Bay's defense and what they can do as far as taking Garrett Wilson away. And, you talk about Bowles and bringing pressure from different angles. And, Justin Fields may be getting, deer in headlights type of moment. So, you talk about a defensive team that has a defensive-minded head coach that's one of the most aggressive in all the business. Yep. He can make you look ugly real bad. Is that enough? You want more?
No. You know what? You know what happened right there? One of our producers, I'm going to say it by name, Gerard Guilfoyle, was trying to make a joke in my ear, and I couldn't hear what you were saying, so I didn't know when you were finished. It's bad timing. It was a bad day all around. It's a bad day all around.
Well, at least Petey Pablo hit the walk-off.
Yeah, Pete Alonso hit the walk-off. There you go.
I'm going to have to talk a lot of people off the ledge in my radio show tomorrow, so I'll get ready for that.
They don't pay you enough.
I think it's time to
Thank you for everybody that's watching this.
Bart Scott, Willie Colon.
Bye to all 300 of you guys. It's been real.
Steve Gelbs. Hey, we're coming back.
You my boy.
Next week on Sunday, noon.
I thought you meant today. I was like,
no, we're not. We're done for now.
You might be coming back. We are not.